There's a comment left on one of my videos recently. I think it was one to do with certainty, a couple of weeks ago probably now, by a user called Girly Voice. It's really good actually. I can highly recommend Girly Voice. He does some great videos. His comments are always astute. He's particularly strong on music and sound, so I'd strongly advise checking out Girly Voice. But he left this comment, what did he say? It was to do with, it was a criticism. It was a really valid criticism of some stuff I was talking about. I've been talking about how at a certain point in deductive processes, or just experiential processes, fact gathering or experience gathering processes, we kind of attempted to make a decision and then we assign a degree of certainty to that decision, and we kind of feel that certainty. We feel like we know something. We feel certain about it, and again, the degree to which we assign. The degree to which we assign certainty to it, or the degree to which we stand by that statement, is the degree to which we feel it to be true. And what Girly Voice was saying, I think, is accurate, is that I didn't make an adequate distinction between statements of, well, ethical statements and factual statements, I think is how he put it. Ethical statements and factual statements. Because if you're talking about factual statements, there is a fairly standard set of processes that one would go to arrive at the truth of a factual statement of different kinds, a social fact or an empirical fact or whatever it might be. But it's relatively straightforward. It is about winnowing out falsities, and it is about determining the criteria by which that fact is established. And once you've done all those kind of things, and you've run the empirical tests, or you've checked the data, or whatever it may be, the fact becomes established. And that's quite a straightforward process. Ethical truths, or ethical statements, or statements in ethics, don't really do that. There isn't a single fact you can arrive. Well, there is, but it's rare that you find a single ethical statement that you arrive at, which is simply a process of winnowing out false statements, or winnowing out statements which might be considered unethical. And of course, ethical statements might be built out of fact statements. Of course, if you're trying to make an ethical choice about whether a particular military operation is just or not, a just war, of course that might include fact statements. You might have to, work out casualty rates, work out what the implications would be of not carrying out a particular action, and then doing some kind of utilitarian equation. But the ethical statement itself isn't one that exists in that kind of frame. It's not one you can arrive at by that simple deductive or inductive process. So yeah, it's a really valid criticism, I think. Sorry, I'm smiling because I'm here in Dartington. It's a set of closing ceremonies here because the college is closing, and this is one of them. And I'm smiling because there's a group of students up here, some of my people I know, but down here is a mate of mine I work with called Simon, who's coming up to do something, and I'll point out in a second. He's dressed rather strangely, look, I'll show you. Oh, there's Simon, look. He's got a hat on and a pair of wings. And yeah, maybe that's appropriate. One of the things I was thinking about in relation to this factual truths as opposed to ethical statements truths is that whereas with factual statements, the more we approach the certainty in those things, the less likely we are to use language of belief. The really hard facts of science are facts you accept, not facts you believe. Well, conversely, ethical statements, the more you think a thing to be ethically correct, the more likely you are, it seems to me, to fall into the language of belief. Anyway, that's enough of that.